Anyway, he's been asked to finish a document which made him stay later than anybody else. The room's cold and dark, and he has to deliver this document to a dude. His fingers were cramping with cold as he finally put the manifest on Eminett's desk, tucked the field report into a leather folio with the Queen's crest on it, and blew out the lamp. It was a long walk to the Duke's private chambers on the far side of the palace, he thought glumly, feeling his way toward the door. He'd be lucky to find any supper now. He'd probably just go back to his room, alone. He used to love this time of day. Supper with his sprawling extended family at the clan house, then music or out for nighttime games with Kita and their friends, or those summer trysts with Alara. He paused by the door in the darkened room, one hand braced against the wall as pain flared in his heart. Don't think of home, not any of it. Don't think of him. But it was too late. Grief and loneliness and shame rolled over him in a suffocating wave. He slid to the floor, tears he couldn't hold back dripping onto the folio clutched in his hands. Damn it. He hadn't cried since he came here. At times like this, which came all too frequently lately, he regretted that he hadn't loaded his pockets with ballast stones and thrown himself off the ship that had carried him into exile when he'd had the chance. But he knew how to tie a noose, or he could find some high place of jump, or open a vein in a warm bath. That one held the most appeal. As he knelt there, feeling very sorry for himself, he heard footsteps approaching. Before he could collect himself, the door swung inward and struck his shoulder. Cyrano? It was Prince Corazon, the last person Cyrano wanted to see him in this pathetic state. Caught in the light of the open doorway, he wiped his face hastily on his sleeve and stood up. Corazon had a mug of ale in one hand and a meat pasty and a napkin in the other. What's wrong? Why are you in here in the dark? Cyrano held up the folio. I just finished. I have to deliver this to Duke Nearus. What are you doing here? The words came out much harsher than he'd intended. But Corazon just smiled. I hear Eminett's kept you late again, so I brought you some supper. He put the mug and the pasty down on the desk, then took a lamp and lit it from the one in the corridor. Go on and eat here, shutting the door. Then I'll walk with you to the Duke's room. Thank you. It was hard to speak with a lump in your throat. Corazon and his sisters were really the only friends he had in this precious place, and he seldom got to see them. The Queen was kind, and the princesses were pleasant, but only the prince sought him out. He knew Corazon must have seen him crying, but the prince didn't say anything. Cyrano deeply appreciated that. Pardon me, my voice is going. Cyrano managed to smile. Oh, no, wait a minute. Between the food and the companionship, Cyrano began to feel a little better. Say, after we get those papers through, we could go back to my rooms and play some bocce, Corazon offered. We're almost getting the hang of it. Cyrano managed to smile. You're a good teacher. When he finished eating, he blew out the lamp again, and they set off together. The scriptorium was in a wing of the sprawling palace reserved for various functionaries like Eminett's. After several twists and turns, however, they entered the palace proper, where there were tapestries on the walls and carpets on the floor. These did little to soften the dour ugliness of the place. I know a shortcut, Corazon said, taking him by the old surcoat and boots. Cyrano was shivering in his cloak and slippers. It was a long way across this garden. You're cold. I'm sorry. Maybe we shouldn't have come this way. Corazon stopped and put an arm around Cyrano's shoulders. Is that better? That's all right. We're almost there. Cyrano started to walk, but Corazon's arm tightened around his shoulders, holding him fast. Then the one-armed embrace became a two-armed hug. You're miserable here, aren't you? In all the time Cyrano had been here, no one had ever asked him that, or hugged him. A feeling very akin to relief welled up in his heart, and he nodded as he hugged him back. Corazon stroked Cyrano's hair, and kissed him gently on the forehead. I'll speak to Mother. Thank you. Corazon looked down at him for a moment, then kissed him on the lips. It lasted too long for a family kiss. Cyrano froze, not knowing what to do. Why did you do that? He asked when Corazon was finished. You didn't like it? Corazon's arms were still around him, but he released Cyrano when he stepped back to collect his thoughts. I didn't know you liked men. I heard you do. Sarah would guess there might be rumors about it, but not that. Then again, the Queen knew the whole sort of story. Maybe she told Corazon? What else did you hear? He demanded, angry now. Just that you're here because of something that happened with a lover. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have presumed. Is that all you heard? Yes, Cyril, I'm sorry. It's just that you look so sad all the time. Cyril pushed past it and started back the way they'd come. I don't need your pity. Not pity, Corazon called after him. I like you. The words and the sincerity with which they were spoken surprised Cyril in equal measure. Turning, he looked back at the prince, who was standing where Cyril had left him. I like you, Corazon said again. And I'm sorry I kissed you. Let's play bocce as we planned. Cyril wavered a moment as memories of betrayal threatened to overwhelm him. At least Corazon hadn't claimed he loved him. Cyril would have kept walking if he had. Instead, he went back to Corazon and fell silently into step beside him as they continued through the garden. The prince's fine suite of rooms was just down the corridor from the Queen's, and opulently furnished. There was a large main sitting room and a bedroom beyond. The sofa and armchairs were soft leather, and there were hunting trophies and murals of hunting scenes covering the walls. A fire crackled in the ornate marble fireplace. And he moved the maxi table and 2 chairs in front of the fire. Corazon sent a servant for wine. Anyway, they play back for a moment. Let's skip over that. That's not what we're here for. Anyway, Cyril yawned and looked around at the guttering candles. It's late. I should be going. It's a long walk back to that kennel of a room they have you in. Stay here tonight, why don't you? We can have another game. That certainly was better than going out into those long, cold corridors, and the wine had made him a little dizzy. All right, thanks. They cleared the board and started another round. Cyril thought out again how comfortable he was with Corazon, and grateful. Being around him made this strange land bearable. He felt he owed him something for that. As Corazon was concentrating on his next move, Cyril blurted out, It's all right you kiss me. I don't mind. Corazon looked up at him in surprise. I'm glad. I was afraid I'd hurt your feelings. No, I was just startled. Corazon smiled as he pushed a piece across the board, blunting the spear Cyril had been building. And I'll give you better warning next time. Next time? If you want there to be a next time, Corazon replied. I really do like you. Cyril's cheeks went hot. Corazon wanted to kiss him again, and right now that didn't seem like such a bad idea. It felt like a lifetime ago since the Lar had, and that thought hurt. There's that sadness again, said Corazon. Do I need to apologize again? Cyril slowly shook his head. No, you don't. I think I'd like that. Corazon immediately took him up on the offer. Standing, he pulled Cyril to his feet and took him in his arms for a long, intense kiss that left Cyril a little unsteady. Taking Corazon's face between his hands, as the Lar used to do with him, Cyril kissed him back. He could feel Corazon's cock hard against him through their clothes, next to his own. Reaching between them, he stroked Corazon's direction. The prince let out a low groan and did the same for him with far more skill than Cyril possessed. He had Cyril panting in an instant. Corazon smiled down at him. I think you want more than kissing. Cyril managed to nod. Corazon unbuttoned Cyril's coat and eased it off his shoulders, letting it fall to the floor. Cyril undid the lacings of his shirt and pulled it over his head. Corazon took off his own coat and shirt, then kissed him again. His body was warm and hard against Cyril's. It felt good. So good that he didn't mind at all, and they somehow ended up naked on Corazon's big bed. He had never been completely naked with a Lar and found himself caught between excitement and embarrassment. His own pale body looked so scrawny next to Corazon's lean muscles. But Corazon soon overwhelmed any hesitancy, kissing him and touching him all over. Cyril gasped as the prince nipped his neck just at the point of pain. It immediately turned to pleasure again as Corazon swirled his hot tongue around Cyril's left nipple. He let his hard, sword-calloused hands down Cyril's side to grip his hips for a moment, then caressed the insides of each thigh with fingers and lips. Cyril's whole body was consumed with heat, both by the feeling of being touched so intimately, but also the sight of the handsome young man doing the touching. Corazon knelt beside him, pale hair hanging down around his face to tickle as he kissed Cyril's belly. When Cyril Cerebral tried to do the same for him, however. Corazon laughed and pushed him down on the bed again, then wrapped his hand around Cerebral's cock and stroked him until Cerebral was moaning between clenched teeth. Just as he was about to come in Corazon's hand, however, the prince stopped and stretched out close beside Cerebral, kissing him and running his fingers through Cerebral's tangled hair. "You're very beautiful, you know." "No." "Yes, you are, and you know it." Corazon teased, stroking Cerebral's belly just beyond the reach of his tongue. "Please," Cerebral groaned, shivering with raw sensation. But Corazon continued to tease him until Cerebral could hardly stand the intensity of the feelings coursing through every fiber of his being. He's never been more aroused in his life. At last, Corazon kissed his way down the length of Cerebral's shaft, lifted the bead of honey that had formed there, then took Cerebral's cock firmly in his fist again and brought him to a long and blinding climax that left Cerebral feeling like he was floating several inches above the bed. Before he could gather his wits enough to thank Corazon, the prince rolled Cerebral over onto his side and swooned in behind him, gently fondling his softening cock. Corazon was still very hard and hot against Cerebral's backside. Nuzzling Cerebral's ear, Corazon slid his hand back to cup Cerebral's buttock and whispered, "Have you ever had a man here?" "No." Cerebral knew what that meant, though. Male unions were not uncommon in Oregon, and people talked. The law had even hinted at it, though they'd never gotten that far. "I hear it hurts." "Just a little, at the start, and it feels very good." Corazon licked Cerebral's ear and squeezed his bottom again. "I'd be honored to be first." Still awash in pleasurable sensations from all that Corazon had done to him, and glowing with wine, Cerebral nodded slowly. "I suppose we could try."